Kalimera, kalispera, kalinichta. No matter where in this weird and wonderful world you might be, thank you for making the Highbury Squad part of your day. We're going live every night this week. You spoiled rotten lot. Here is your second serving. Let's rock and roll.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.
Thanks again for tuning in. For those listening on replay, thanks for making us part of your day. And to everyone listening on our audio platforms, thank you also for making us part of your day. Some of you taking the week off. You need a breather, you need a break, because we know what's coming. Back again is my podcast brother from another mother, Mr. Super Kevin Campbell. Don't freeze in time on me, Kev.
Good to see you again. On the Tuesday-ish club. At ease, squaddies, at ease.
This is the Tuesday-ish club. It's been a while since we've brought you one of these episodes. We love them. It's a little bit of a mix of what's happening right now. We also take a bit of a trip down memory lane. And joining Squad Central is one of my favorites. Last time we spoke was a couple of years ago. I'd like to welcome comedian, writer, presenter, podcaster, legendary Arsenal fan, Handbrake Off. If you're not listening to that on The Athletic, I don't know where you're living or where you are. Welcome to Squad Central, Mr. Ian Stone.
Hello, guys. Hello. Thanks for having me.
We are so happy that you are here. Ian, let's start at the very beginning, shall we?
Mm-hmm.
I want to rewind to the start of the season. Not long-winded. Just tell me, what did your top four? I am going all the way back, Kev, but right now I just want to. Shall I
go back a little further?
I'm going to. Do you know where I'm going?
Go on. Where you going? Go back to.
Let me show you where I'm
losing out.
I'm going this far back in a minute.
Oh, we'll love that.
We'll do that.
Yeah, we love that.
I want to know where you had us finishing. What did your top four look like after we lost out to Champions League, as Kev says? What did your little crystal football tell you?
I thought this season would happen exactly as it has happened. Actually, I'm not surprised.
You liar!
Yeah, of course I'm a liar. Yeah. I am. When are you asking me? Are you asking me after we lost to Newcastle and Spurs?
Yes.
What I felt like then, or what I felt like when I saw Jesus in pre-season.
Take it from where Kev wants you. Yeah, take it where Kev wants you to take it first.
And then you see Jesus and Zinchenko come in.
Yeah.
After pre-season.
Yeah, after Newcastle and Tottenham, I did feel a bit gutted, but I've always been of the feeling that you can't do the Champions League until you're ready to do the Champions League, and I wasn't sure that we had the squad. We obviously had some players, but I didn't think we had the squad. So I was gutted at the time, but after a while I thought, you know what? We're back in Europe. That was the plan, right? To get in the Europa League. So I sort of reconciled myself to that pretty quickly, quicker than the players, I think, who were deeply upset and used it as rocket fuel, and that's great. But for me, I thought, you know what, I'm all right with Europa League, and let's see how we go. Then they bought Jesus and Zinchenko, and I remember watching pre-season games and thinking, "Woof, they're good." Jesus, look, and then everything seemed to be working quite well. Now, I will say at this point, I have watched us a number of times in pre-season and thought, "Oh, we look really good here," and things haven't quite gone the way that I would hope. But we did look good in pre-season. And what did I think? I thought we would make top four this year. That's what I thought. When I watched them in pre-season, I thought they're good, this lot, and they will make top four. What's happened is not what I expected. Not what anyone expected.
No.
What position did you have Arsenal finishing, Ian? I know top four, but was it fourth?
I thought third or fourth. I didn't think we'd make top two. I thought City were going to win it, and I'm shocked at how bad Liverpool have been. I thought they'd be up there again, and Man United are looking stronger. So I thought I sort of felt that it might fall apart with Ronaldo anyway. So I thought when they did get rid of him, they would be good at that point, and that's turned out. So I thought we'd be third or fourth. That's what I thought. I didn't have any more feelings. I didn't think we'd be going for the title. To be fair to me, neither did the team until Zinchenko said it to them, right? That's when it happened, I feel. I think Zinny came in the dressing room and went, "Why are you thinking top four? You can be champions." And they all went, "Really? Really?" But it's weird when people say those sort of things to you. You suddenly grow a few inches. And if they're saying it, if someone who's won the title 3 or 4 times comes in and says it, maybe you feel it as well. So I think that's what happened.
The impact that those two had is, undeniable, isn't it? Kev, do you think that players I know the story, we know the story, but as a player, I know you always say you're out to win and you always believe you're going to win the title, but this Arsenal team, were they really thinking that they could win the title this season? You do agree with the Zinchenko moment?
Partly, yeah. I think when you get winners in the dressing room who have done it, I think you look up to them and you listen to them because they know the course and distance. But I think Arsenal starting the season well was the key to everything.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to start. You've got to be.
Damn his internet. Gosh, will you whip round here, get Kev some new internet, start putting the 5p in it.
We're waiting.
Yeah, timeout, Kev. Do your NBA thing. Do your timeout. He'll come back in, no doubt. Ian, so let me take you back because I did put up that picture of Highbury, and I'm not aging anyone out here. We had Lee Judges on the show last night, and he's been around the block a little bit and seen the Arsenal, us Generation Xers, the baby boomers. You've seen a little bit of the good, the bad, and the ugly, and.
That might have been Kevin Campbell making that noise then. I think it was.
It's payback for the abuse we gave him at Highbury all those years ago.
I never gave him abuse. Love him.
He says that a few of us did. I don't believe it. So we've got younger listeners now who have experienced us winning the FA Cup, which is wonderful. It's been great. In our darkest years, our darkest moments, while we're on our knees, we're winning the FA Cup. And we've completely lost our way in the Premier League. What is it taking you back to the Highbury era before we slot into the Emirates? What is it about the glory that you miss? We've had some bad times there, but we only remember the good times because there were so many. What is it about glory that you miss? Because you can taste it just there. It's right there this season.
I mean, at the moment, I'm not missing it. I'm loving every second of it. But I grew up at Highbury. So it was that was home for me. I got taken there when I was 7 years old. Look at that. It's absolutely beautiful. I got taken there when I was 7 by my dad, who could have taken me to Tottenham, incidentally, because he used to go to Tottenham one week and then he used to go to Arsenal the next when you could do that. And he took me, obviously, if he did take me to Tottenham, that would have been tantamount to child abuse, right? So, but he took me to Arsenal. And I remember going up the steps about 1970, 71, going up the steps at Highbury. And it was a night game. And there's the green pitch and the red shirts. And I went, this is where I want to be. This is where I want my life to be here. So what do I miss? Of course, I miss Highbury. Although I should qualify that by saying, I miss Highbury less now because Emirates feels like home now. And it has taken a while, isn't it? But it does feel like home.
It's taken a really long while. And the reason why I wanted to ask you about the glory years at Highbury is because I was reading an article today. I don't know how I found it, but it's from 2010. I don't know if this website even, if anyone used to read it or if it's still around with new articles and stuff. I just found this one piece. Arsenal.net. It's a .net. It was from 2010. And the title of the article, Ian and Kev, is A Soulless Bowl or Waiting on History. And it was a really good read about how we look at the Emirates versus how we look at Highbury. And not that we should forget about Highbury, but when are we going to accept that it's gone? And Kev always says, Ian, that winning cures everything. Do you think that the Emirates it's evolving into a volcano right now. You just said it, but do you think it's still undefined because we haven't won the title there? Or do you think the Ashburton Army have helped define it, and the next step is for that to step in? Has it been redefined?
Yeah, it's not just the Ashburton Army. It's the whole feeling around the club now. I don't actually think it matters. I mean, obviously, I want us desperately to win the title, right? I genuinely do, but I don't think it's about that now. I think it feels like home, and I think maybe since the pandemic or something, I think since we've all come back and we've all gone, this is our home, and then the team has started producing like they have. It feels like home now. Do you feel the same way, Kev? It does feel like home to me.
I think it's more like home now. I think it just needs the pieces in the puzzle are being put in place. We always needed a team. That's the key to having a new stadium. You need a team on the pitch who can do the business. Definitely got one now. Got a manager now. I think the fan base have responded to the team, and the team have responded to the fan base.
Yeah,
there's a few key missing, Ian, Sophie, that's missing. What we've got to do to make it home, we've got to get across the line this season.
Yeah,
the Emirates needs a title. It needs a championship run. It needs a title to then go. This is home. The last pieces of the jigsaw.
I know what you mean. But I think all the wraps around the outside of the stadium and the different
but that's only just come in.
I know.
Yeah, Ian,
but that's all part of it, though.
That's
isn't
the point. These pieces of the jigsaw have been going. But there's one thing: is that trophy, that Premier League trophy, is what's missing. So,
be lovely.
Hey, listen, everything's going in the right direction. Everything's going in the right direction. We just whittle the boys over the line, don't we?
Ian, are you one that cares about, I was really excited to talk to you about the journey because it clicked for me a little while ago. Kev and I talk about it a lot, and the All or Nothing gave us some real gems at the time, a couple that we laughed at, and looking back, I think we're all like, oh, wow, okay, I get it now. Kind of the penny drop moments. But do you feel like do you feel like if we don't win it, what will happen after in the media? Do you give a shit about any of that stuff? Do you care less?
No, I'm a bit like the players now, game by game. Right, next is Leeds. Let's win that, and then let's see how far we can take it. I think this team have been. I don't know. Obviously, I think all teams always say, "Oh, it's game by game trainings," but they've been talking about training session by training session, day by day, and they seem to be living it.
Yeah,
they are. They're just improving, just working on what you got to do. I think the moment I remember earlier in the season when Man City lost to Brentford at home, and we were on the bus on the way to Wolves for the away game that afternoon. And they asked, Brentford scored later on 1-2-1, and they asked Mikel Arteta, what was it like on the bus when they heard? This is only about 10 games in, I think. And Mikel Arteta said, well, you can imagine. And that was the moment when I thought, oh, my God, they think they can win it. They actually, because if they are reacting genuinely like, yes, our rivals have lost points, that means they think they are rivals. And that means they think they can win it. And I think that they've been thinking that for quite a few. I mean, not since right at the start of the season, but early on.
I think around. I think like maybe before the December. There was Kevin and I had a conversation, and there was a couple of games, and you just felt like exactly what you're saying. The belief just kicked in, and you could the looks on their faces, the energy, being in the stadium, not being in the stadium. There was a different vibe to this team, and I think. One of the biggest things, and what we've talked about a lot on our show, Ian, is the bouncing back from adversity.
Amazing.
Our Achilles heel for years, right? Like, going 1-0 down, 2-0 down, and then being 3-0 down by halftime.
Not anymore.
Then, this mentality, especially after missing out last season, that's the thing that's impressed me the most.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they lost to Man United, didn't they? And then they went on another run. And then this last run they had when they lost to Everton,
Everton.
Everton. They lost away at Everton, and then they got 2 points stolen from us. I still can't get over it by Lee Mason against Brentford. That should have been a scrappy 1-0 win. Move on, forget about that game, never mention it again. And then we lost to Man City when we made some mistakes, and we went, okay, they are really, really good. But we've won 6 games on the bounce since then.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and including, Bournemouth, Villa away when we were 1-0 down and 2-1 down, and we got a winner in the 93rd minute. And how funny was that off Emmy's head? I mean, my God, there have been some brilliant moments this season. But the resilience of the team in games, they don't let it get them down. They just go, okay, we go again, and it's tremendously impressive from a team so young. I'm in awe of them at the moment. Actually, I genuinely am. I'm just look at them and go, bloody hell, you lot. How are you doing this? And I think a lot of people feel the same way.
Ian, how impressed have you been with the fan base?
Well,
because we've got to see the pitch now. The atmosphere.
Yeah.
How impressed have you been with the fans?
Oh, well, listen, I mean, a couple of thousand of the older fans gave up their season tickets before the pandemic. The younger ones came in. The Ashburton Army have arrived. People are engaged. I mean, I know what you said, Kev. The team have produced, and so we felt like, yeah, go on then. But you know what I think was a big moment this season when Saliba scored that own goal against, was it Leicester or Fulham? I can't remember which one of those two.
No, it was Fulham was the Gabriel mistake.
Leicester
was the own goal.
Yeah.
And the crowd, basically 60,000 people hugged him when it's all right. It's all right, William. Don't worry about it. We love you, and we love what you. Listen, he just scored one of the best goals I've ever seen at Bournemouth the week before, whatever. So we went, no, don't worry about it. We think you're great, and you could see him and the team going, okay, because they lived. So I think the fans have had a big part to play. I mean, listen, I think there's a lot of synergy going around at the Emirates at the moment. I think Mikel Arteta has tried to include. He's talked about the crowd a lot, hasn't he? He has mentioned the fan base and what's going on. When you go to I haven't been to an away game this season, but watching the away games and the connection between the fans and the players, there is something. Kev, listen, you've played in great teams, you've seen this sort of stuff, but I haven't seen much like this in football. I mean, I genuinely haven't. There's some great pictures there, the 91 team and it was brilliant. But there's something magical going on. I genuinely believe that. I've said this on other podcasts, but this is the closest thing I've had to a religious experience. Right? I mean, I'm not.
Are you an atheist?
I'm not a religious person. I went to the Wailing Wall in Jerusalem when I was 18, young Jewish kid, didn't feel much at all. But Bukayo Saka smacked one in the bottom corner against Man United, and I thought, oh my God, maybe there is a God. Maybe.
It's biblical. That's biblical.
And I'm genuinely loving it, and I think the players are. I don't know. Do you see Bukayo on Match of the Day the other day? He's loving life. He's loving life at the moment. And by the way, he is. I mean, he could do anything. That kid. That absolutely. He's 21. He could win the Ballon d'Or.
These two, they're both 21.
No, Ian, I said that on
Martinelli have been amazing.
Yeah. Said that on the show last. I asked Kev on the show last night, if we win the Premier League, how do you win the Ballon d'Or? Wow. Do you think that?
I mean, I'm not sure it'll be this year, but what I'm saying is that kid can achieve anything he wants to achieve. And by the way, that's not just in his football career. I mean, there's something about him that you just go, oh, how can you be like this at 21? How can you have this much confidence and belief and the love that he gets, not just from us, but from other fans as well? Luke Shaw said he'd like him to be his son. Right?
Yes. Well, he has to get in line, doesn't he?
I know, but that's a beautiful thing. And he came through the academy. He's ours. He's 7 years old.
He's fully grounded, yeah.
I mean, there was a point when we were playing Newcastle, and that was a tough game at home, and the Newcastle assistant chucked the ball away when he was coming to get a throw, right? And he just looked at him and smiled, that smile that he's got. Like, I'm not going to let you wind me up. And I'm so impressed. I am so impressed. I mean, I'm impressed with all of them, but him, I mean, we spend a lot of time talking about him on the podcast, and rightly so. He's a superstar.
There's a lot of talk about, Thomas Partey and Saliba and Saka, of course. And then on the flip side, you talk about when Edu came in, you mentioned him earlier, and when he came in, the complacency, couldn't believe just how rubbish everything and everyone was and how everyone accepted mediocrity and could see exactly what needed to be done. Mikel comes in, the icing on the changing the culture cake, Arsenal 2.0 being reborn before our eyes. Mikel gets a lot of the credit, and rightly so. Edu gets some. I think he deserves a little bit more. The players, Kev has been yelling at me for like 2.5 years. Soph, it's the players. Watch what happens when this manager gets his own players. Do you think Xhaka has had as much of an impact on our new culture as Mikel? Like, Emery gave Xhaka his debut, right? But Saka's morphed into a superstar over the last 2.5 years. How much has he had to do with who we are today?
Wow. I mean, listen, I think Mikel Arteta is the main person here. I genuinely do. I think what he's done, the way that he's transformed the club. I mean, he has transformed the club. He's connected the fan base and the players. The owners are on side. It all centers around him, is my feeling. I think that Xhaka, even though he's 21, is one of the senior players in the sense that they will give him the ball and go on then, Magic Man, do your thing, right? It's a bit like Thierry when in the Invincibles team. Or
they trust him, don't they?
They completely trust him. But Mikel Arteta has done this. I mean, we've all played our part. I genuinely believe and that means fan base, everyone.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But Mikel Arteta has done this. I mean, let's not forget, this is his first gig. He's a rookie manager, and he's doing something spectacular. I mean, obviously, not everyone gets to suck at the teat of Pep Guardiola for 3 years, and obviously he's learned a lot from him. But he played for David Moyes, and he played for Arsene Wenger. He's played for some great managers. But what he's done, transformed the club, connected everything. It's astonishing. Props to him, really. Props to
Ian,
him.
when we talk about the journey, Ian, it took me a while to get here. Go on, Kev. You jump in there, and I'll ask Ian this one after.
No, I just wanted to say, I just wanted to add on to what Ian said.
Mm-hmm.
When he first came in, his first interview, he talked about connecting the fan base. He's sorting out the dressing room. He talked about all these things, didn't he? He talked about that. The fans have a massive part to play, and look
unity. That was the word he used. Unity.
Yes.
Right from the start. Amy Lawrence went on the podcast. She did a little interview with him. He must have mentioned unity 5 or 6 times. I mean, it's a big thing with him, and that's what we've got. Unity. He's unified the whole club.
I think he's brought the unity through discipline as well, though, right? I mean, we had players who were just running amok, doing kind of
non-negotiables.
The non-negotiables, which
he's done that.
Look, the most important one of all was, you talked about Ronaldo, Ian, at the top of the show, but removing Aubameyang from the situation, that was ballsy.
I agree.
And
but he had the backing. He had the backing, didn't he?
Yes.
One of the things about what happened with the pandemic and then with the protests, I went to the protests, right, outside the Emirates in whenever it was, 2021. It was absolutely brilliant to be back as part of a group, one of the fans, and go, oh yeah, look at all of us. Because the first time we'd really been out for a year. And I think Josh and Stan Kroenke, they got the message. They got the message that this club is this is it more than just a business. And I think Josh certainly became a supporter at that point. And I think because he's a supporter, he's basically gone, go on, Mikel, go on there, do your thing. And they seem to have made a lot of very good decisions. We haven't had a bad buy in a couple of years, have we? Everything seems to be going in the right direction, really.
It does.
And I'm very grateful for it, I must admit.
And it's especially fun when you look at what's happening on the other side of North London. And you don't even have to say anything else. I love it, the way Arsenal fans just like...
it's hilarious. It's endlessly entertaining. I've got to be honest with you. And as much as I love my team, I get almost as much enjoyment watching them be terrible. I mean, what can you say? It's a joy. It's a genuine joy. I spent an hour listening to the radio with all their fans phoning in saying, well, I agree with what he said, but he shouldn't have said it. Oh, well, then. Oh, it's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant.
Hey, Ian, that makes no sense. I agree with what he said, but he shouldn't have said it.
I know. It's exactly what they should have said, actually, but it won't change anything. But that obviously is adding to the joy. Of course it is. And the way we beat them at their place this season, I mean, that was one of the highlights.
Ruthless.
To go there, to outplay them in the first half, and then to hold them at arm's length in the second half. There was something very grown up about that performance.
I heard on the radio, Kevin, Ian, yesterday, Tottenham fan called in. It was probably TalkSport, and he said, that lot, they've beaten us 5-1 on aggregate this season.
We killed them.
And they were just having a total meltdown. Anyway, enough about them. Let's talk more about us. Curiously, how long did it take you to get to this loving with Mikel and the team?
Well, I wasn't a fan a year and a half ago. I mean, I wasn't. I'll be honest with you.
Definitely weren't a fan starter last season.
Me too.
No, I wasn't. And but then you know what? We've all had to sort of come to it, haven't we? I don't think there's really that many people who've been, Mikel Arteta's the guy all the way through.
That one, unfortunately.
Really? Were you, Kev?
Yeah.
You know what? Yeah. Fair play. What was it about him then? Did you just, because I remember I watched Bukayo on Match of the Day the other day, and they were talking about how the team have progressed this season. And he said, oh no, we feel like we progressed for the last 3 or 4 years. And did you see that early on?
Yeah, look, when the manager came in and he started talking about the unity and the non-negotiables and what he had to do, because at the end of the day, Ian, just remember, we're the Arsenal and we're having to pay players to leave.
Yeah.
We didn't have it. We didn't have any assets. He had to rip that dressing room up. There was a lot of work to be done, and maybe some fans don't understand how that works. It's very hard for the dressing room when big players are getting taken out and it takes a bit of time to replace them.
Yeah.
And I remember me and Sophie doing a podcast at the start of this season, and we were even talking about, would Mikel survive before Christmas?
Yeah.
Because, if he has a bad start and the fans are kind of, it's his team now. All the pressure's on.
Exactly.
What a season.
Well, look what happened. I mean, we went to Palace, right? And they scheduled it for the Friday, didn't they? Because they thought we'll have another Brentford. Maybe Jamie Carragher can go and celebrate with the Palace fans this time instead of the Brentford fans. And we beat them. And that first half an hour, 40 minutes, you went, what? What have we got? What have we got? And obviously I'm fully on board now, and I feel like I have been for quite some time. And I've also thought this team could be something really special for quite some time.
Yeah.
But you know what? I'm not going to say that I didn't have any doubts. Of course I did. I noticed a few people are saying, no, from the first press conference, from the moment he walked in.
Reading the chat.
Well done, you lot. Well done, you lot. I wasn't like that. But I'm fully on board now.
Ian, don't believe him. I'm telling you.
Listen, I can vouch for a few of our listeners that had his back from day one. Super Kev definitely did. We had some major rows actually, and as I'm sure that you did maybe on your podcast on Handbrake Off on The Athletic with the gang, because I mean,
it was hard.
It was
really hard. Losing all those games. We're essentially doing the same podcast every week.
With Mind you, we're doing zeros.
Mind you, we're doing that now, to be honest with you. But it's nice.
With a smile.
Yeah. Which player should we choose this week? Which player should we? Oh, he was good, wasn't he? Yeah. Oh, him as well. Yeah. I mean, you could go through the whole team, could you really? And go, what? I mean, Xhaka, the Xhaka story. What the hell's happened there? I mean,
so Kev, this is where I get to take a little pin to Kev, because Kev wanted Xhaka gone. Many of us did. I defended him for a long time, but then honestly, I felt stupid for defending him once the City sending off happened. It felt like that was the straw that broke the camel's back. And
Burnley did it for me. I was at the Burnley game. There's 2,000 of us in the stadium, and Ashley Barnes celebrated in front of me. It was the most horrible. I thought, what am I doing here? I don't want to be here. And Granit got sent off, and you went, mate, what are you doing? Stupid stuff. And then suddenly Roma didn't want him, right? That's what happened.
Yeah, flirted with Mourinho. He was
did.
talking about the city and all sorts.
And then suddenly he's staying, and we've given him a 4-year contract, and everyone's going, "What? What's going on?" And it's turned out he is. I mean, I know Erdegaard's captain, but he's also one of the on-pitch captains now, isn't he? And we all accept that. Nobody even questions it for a second, because he's suddenly just become an adult or something.
His form, Ian. Let's be honest. His form has been absolutely remarkable.
It's right the way through the season. Right the way.
He's incredible. He goals. I mean, I used to say he scores 1 or maximum 2 goals a season.
I know.
He doesn't give up. Look now. I mean,
there's still fans that want him. There's still fans that want him gone. Still want him gone.
No.
I mean,
but listen, I think he's been great this year, but it must be. I mean, God, it must be fun to play in this team. I reckon I'd look half decent playing in this team.
Well, here's the thing too. One of the things that you're bringing this up a lot.
That's a joke, Kev, by the way. I
know. That's why I'm laughing.
Yeah.
From an experience point of view, you're talking about the fun, the journey, the ride, the team. They look happy.
Yeah, they are happy.
How many times have we washed ourselves in the past where you just think, "Whoa, this is going to get rough, and it's going to get rough quick. No one cares." The apathy, it was insane. I mean, it was like a cancer. It was just spreading around not only the dressing room, the pitch, but the fan base. We were divided, all of it.
Yeah.
And I think that's why some of us aren't allowing ourselves that permission just yet, Ian.
Well, it's too early. It's too early. I mean, of course, I want to get the joy, and I'll get the joy from the individual games. If we keep winning, we keep winning. I still don't know if we're going to win the title. I mean, God, I hope so. And it would just be such a brilliant story. But Man City are, this financial behemoth, I think is the word. I mean, they've just got so much money. And they've got a very, very good team and an excellent manager. They're going to take some stopping as well. And a bloke who can score 400 goals a season. It's not easy. So what we're doing is spectacular. But listen, I don't think that we will crumble. Right? I don't think what happened last season will happen this season. But you know what? Whether we've got enough, I don't know. I really don't know. If we're still top after Man City, I think we'll win it. That's what I think.
I think if we get a point at Liverpool and a point at City, we win the title.
Still got to go to Newcastle.
I think we're going to, you know what? Okay, so you were talking about receipts, right? Yeah. Crystal Palace 3-0, start of the season when their run was ready. Yeah. We are giving refunds on a lot of receipts this season. All right?
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Newcastle, they major payback. Because they trolled us after as well, Ian. And Bruno Guimaraes, went all large on us as well. They're going to get payback. I think we're going to spank them up there.
Well, you know what? One at a time. Let's beat Leeds. Let's get. You know what? Actually,
what?
Let's get them all. Let's get them all back from the international break, uninjured and in good form, and then let's beat Leeds, and then we'll worry about Liverpool and all the rest of it. It is really one game at a time, and that. Because I can't be thinking about what might happen if we actually do it. I mean, that'll be like a lost week for me. I mean, start of June.
Who is it? The streets aren't ready, someone said yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
The streets aren't ready. I think it was Dan. I think it was Potsy that said that. Let's get some questions in for you as well from our listeners, because they're super engaged in the conversation for you and Super Kev. I like this question a lot. A question for the panel. Would you classify Xhaka as a legend after we lift the Premier League trophy? Okay, steady on the after. What do you think,
Kev?
They're all legends. We win. True. We win. They're all legends. They've made their mark in the history of Arsenal Football Club. So they're all legends.
Exactly that. I mean, I can't agree. I couldn't agree more. I mean, Xhaka's it's a really good story. I mean, in my head, I have him lifting the Champions League, and we all basically go, "Sorry, Granit," and he goes, "No, I'm sorry. We got off on the wrong foot, and I feel terrible." And we go, "We feel terrible, Granit. We didn't realise you were one of the best box-to-box midfielders in the country." So it's all that really, but yeah, I agree with Kev. They'll all be legends, all of them.
So when we talk about, I mean, we've got, so many legends, so many memories. These are the moments. This is what we want to relive again. I wanted the European, but whatever. I mean, we've got Georgie here with Sir Alex and the Cup Winners' Cup. I think for this lot, Ian, what I've been saying to Super Kev, for the new generation of fans, this will be their 89 or their Invincibles. Fair, or I'm being melodramatic?
No, not at all. It's been how long since we won the title? 16
20.
years? 19, whatever it is.
years.
Yeah, it's too long. It's too long. And we have got a team to be proud of here. We've got a group of players to be, not just a team, a squad of players to be proud of. And it's what's interesting to me is how easily people are integrated into it. Jorginho turned up, Trossard turned up. They look like they've been playing there for years, both of them. And that is a testament to the strength of the feeling within the squad. People come in and go, oh my God, I want this. I want this. The top players in Europe are talking about us. They're talking about us and how good we are. I can't wait to see them in the Champions League next year, taking on Real Madrid and taking on proper teams. I don't want to be playing in the Europa League anymore. I hopefully we've said goodbye to that for a while. But yeah, I think there's more to come. That's the other thing. I mean, do you see Martin Keown the other day talking to Bukayo Saka? He looked like a little girl. He was so excited, right? I wouldn't say it. I wouldn't. He did. He looked so excited because that's the feeling they've given us this year.
Sometimes
I haven't had this feeling in a long time.
It's been way too long.
Well,
and
I was saying the team that you played in, Kev, that team gave me that feeling, right? Because it was a load of young kids, all from the same area, all playing for the shirt. With the Invincibles, the Invincibles are amazing. But I've said this before. It was a bit like going to see Cirque du Soleil. You know what I mean, right? They're amazing. And we used to turn up every day and go, how many are we going to win by today?
The Harlem Globetrotters.
It was a bit like that, really. Yeah. Whereas the team that Kev played for, the team in the George's team,
homegrown
talent, and we all felt like we had to get behind them, and you know that felt a bit like this to me. So
I ask this Kev all the time because I want every single time he answers it in a different way, which just gives me more layers on, you know, what he's thinking of Mikel. Mikel to me seems more like George than Arsene. I don't know what Amy says or what you guys see like behind the scenes. Kev feels that way too when he's been around him covering the games. Do you guys feel that? I mean, maybe Arsene on the modern day, they're impactors, not substitutes, changing the game in that way.
I mean, the discipline side is more George, isn't it? I mean, you've got to say it's more George Graham. I mean, he's almost like a distillation of Jules Graham and Arsene Wenger. You know, early Arsene Wenger, it seemed to me, he didn't have to do a huge amount. I'm not belittling what he did. It was incredible. But essentially, he had the best defence in the country, and he just put a bit of, you know, flair from France in there. And when we went, and Dennis playing, and whoosh, off we went. And they were almost, that team used to look at each other and go, you ready? And they go, yeah, you're ready. And you must look around the dressing room and go, Patrick Vieira's over there. I can't let him down or whatever. Robert Pires, he's brilliant. But this is different. And I think Mikel has he's got the mix right, isn't it? It's all about chemistry, right, Kev? It's all about chemistry. And the chemistry right now, whatever ingredients he's putting in, it seems to be working. And anything that doesn't, that messes it up, like Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang or Mesut Ozil or any of the others, he goes, no, that's not working. Got to go.
Yeah, that's got to go.
It's tremendously impressive from someone who's never had a manager's job before.
Someone else mentioned Walter Smith as well, who... Kev loves as well. Okay, so everyone wants to know your view. I asked this question to Kev yesterday. Is Martinelli playing better with Trossard than he was even with Jesus? They want to know your view on Trossard. We love him. We've loved him from day one. We loved him when he was at Brighton.
I liked him at Brighton. I think, listen, there's a few Brighton players. I like the way they play. They're a good team. And I'm very happy to cherry pick their best players. Trossard, I don't think anyone, I remember when we were going for Mudryk, and everyone was like, oh, and this guy looks amazing. And I'd seen the highlights and I thought, I'd love to see him in an Arsenal shirt. And it didn't work out for various reasons, some of them geopolitical, I think. But anyway, we ended up with Leandro Trossard, plan B, as he was meant to be. And my God, I mean, 3 assists against Fulham, another one the other day. I know that Gabriel Martinelli felt a bit left out on his own when Eddie Nketiah was playing through the middle because he doesn't drift out to the left. He prefers it when the centre forward does that, or the whatever deep line number 9, whatever you want to call him. But Trossard has been he's fitted right in. But Mikel Arteta, he talks about game intelligence. He talks about intelligence of players. He's an intelligent player. He's an intelligent player,
He really
Trossard.
is.
And I think a lot of Brighton's players are like that, but he is definitely one of them. He's slotted right in, isn't he? It's really almost a perfect January signing, actually. Yeah. And delighted with how he's playing, of course.
And
cool.
cheap, Ian, and cheap.
Cheap. They're all cheap.
That
They
helps.
like cheap.
That helps. You know what? That's great. But you know what? The truth is, if Mudryk came in and was playing like this, we got 97 million quid was a bargain. Doesn't matter, does it really? But the fact, what was he, 28 million or 25 million or something?
Around 27-ish.
Incredible.
Yeah. And when you look at Jesus, Zinchenko, I mean, even Ben White looks like a bargain now. Ramsdale, bargain. You know, I mean, we've got market value big time. Kev and I were trying to do some maths the other day. I mean, when you look at, we was just saying we're giving players away for free. Now, how much is our squad worth?
Gabriel Magalhaes doesn't get a lot of praise, but
we love him.
My God,
Kev and I love him.
I love him for his leadership. I love him. Do you see the game in the Fulham game? In the first minute, Pereira clattered him. And he went, and the look on his face, like, oh, right, mate, you'll pay for that.
Really?
Then he scores from the corner about 15 minutes later, and it was so...
Ian, really? Really?
It was.
All right.
It made me laugh. And that centre-half pairing, but I know Saliba gets a lot of praise, and my God, what a player at 21 or whatever he is, or 20. But Gabriel Magalhaes, in that, he has been so solid for us. And I can't praise him highly enough.
He's another one that bounced back from adversity as well. Yeah. I mean,
well, that's what I was just going to say, Soph. He had his wobble earlier on in the season, didn't he? He had his wobble. But when we really needed him, because he's the aggressor and Saliba's the cleanup merchant, we need him to be on it every game because he's the aggressor. And boy, is he playing out of his skin at the moment.
But that's the fan base as well, isn't it? That's the fan base as well. I mean, he realizes how much he's loved, right? He made that mistake against Fulham. They didn't get on his back. We haven't got on their back at all, have we? And that stuff is so important, I think. And I know the team are feeling it as well. And it, Kev, as a fan, when you like to hear once in a while from the team that you've played a part. I remember when a few years ago, we went to Man United and won in the FA Cup in the quarter-final, right? Danny Welbeck scored the winner. And we had 9,000 of us who somehow got up there and back on a Monday night. And I actually got a lift for me and Wright after the match of the day, which was really nice.
Very nice.
But it was nice. No, but he's a mate. So, but all the players for the next week or two were talking about the fans and saying how much the fans meant to them that night. And you think, that's what we want. That is what we want. And that acknowledgement now after the away games, when they go over and they're all, communing together, and the home games now when Martin Ødegaard walks around the pitch and it's really
Claps
something.
everybody.
So I think it's working both ways, really. And
Ian, one of my favorite games I went to this season was a game we lost. And that was, the drive home was a bit brutal, I'm not going to lie. But it was the Old Trafford away game, because that was when the penny dropped for me. Because, traveling back and forth, I don't go to every away game or every home game. And that to me was like, wow, I've never experienced an away day where we're getting beaten 3-1 at Old Trafford and we're the loudest fans.
And we were a better team, I think, for a lot of that game. We just got a little bit ahead of ourselves. We made a noise.
Ian, we got robbed. Tell it how it is. We got robbed.
Yeah, it wasn't a foul on it. It wasn't a foul, was it? But
it wasn't.
Listen, you know what? There are going to be refereeing decisions, but I like the way that we took it to them. That was not a bad defeat, really. It
was a glorious defeat, because I also think that it was humbling for this team. They learned quickly, very early on in the season, and Arteta adjusted, didn't he? He did and he didn't in a way, but the loss, I just think, was the best thing that happened to us this season.
What do you think then, Kev? Do you think? I think this team have learned a lot from their defeats, losing to Newcastle and Tottenham last year, and what happened at the end of last season, losing to Man United. losing to City as well, and what happened against City at home. Is it less of a loss and more of a lesson, as they
Should have
say?
won that game as well.
Always. And all we need to do is look at it. Where we had a wobble after we lost to City, you think to yourself, have they got the heart for it now?
6 games we've won on the trot.
Bang, 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 bang.
So
They've
impressive.
been relentless. So they've obviously learned from last season.
But the Man City game last season, when we lost on New Year's Day 2-1, and we gave
2-1.
everything, and Rodri got a goal in the last minute, and
Last second of the
last
game.
second, fourth minute of injury time. But we all clapped him off after. We went, lads, that's what we want. That's all we want to see, that effort, and then you'll be fine. And they've
don't
they've
forget
taken that
Gabriel
forward.
got sent off for fouling Jesus. Now Jesus is on our side. So,
And we didn't have Mikel there that day, did we? We had AirPod Albert on the sideline.
Is that right? I didn't remember that. I listen. I mean,
COVID,
we have.
Didn't he?
That's right. I do think this team learns very, very quickly. They take lessons on balls quickly. Listen, it's a really, really excellent bunch, and I hope they achieve everything they want to achieve. I genuinely.
Right. Let's get a few more questions in. Someone's for you here. Okay, let's see. Wesley, for you and Kev, what is the biggest, most impactful decision for the upcoming summer? And I'll add this caveat. Yesterday, we were talking about this notion that's come over me in this. For the first time, we might lose players we actually want to keep.
Yeah, we talked about this. Yeah, I talked about this with a mate coming out on Sunday. Anyone who goes now, we go, oh, yeah, I wouldn't mind. Oh, like if Kieran Tierney left or something because he wants more first-team football. Declan Rice. If we can get Declan Rice in, and I think in the end he might be a long-term replacement for Granit, but, you know, they could obviously play together as well. But Declan Rice, I love watching him play for West Ham. He brought the ball down in front of us once playing for West Ham, and he had about 5 Arsenal players around him, and he wriggled out, and we all just looked at each other and went, oh, he's top class, that boy. He's really good.
We like him. Yeah.
So Declan Rice. After that,
Kev says he'll take Declan Rice over Bellingham all day long.
Would you? Oh my God. I mean, if
I would.
I mean, really. I mean, I think Jude Bellingham is an unbelievable footballer.
And I'm not saying, Ian, here's the point. I'm not saying Bellingham's not a top-class player, but getting a player who could sit at the base of your midfield, dictate play and do all the ugly stuff.
Yeah.
We've seen it for years. They're so hard to find.
Yeah.
Before Partey, we were all over the place.
No, I agree. And when we haven't got him, we look less of a team as well. I know. Well, Rodri does that for Man City, and he's a beast. And I think Declan Rice can do a similar. I think Declan Rice can do a similar job for us. I think you put Declan Rice in that team. Maybe I'd like to see Balogun have another run. Actually, I mean, listen, we've got 3 forwards now, but I like Balogun coming back on loan. And he's getting a lot of goals in Liga. You know, he was top goal scorer in Liga. They've got some decent forwards over there, right? I mean, Messi, Neymar, and Mbappe play over there. And he was top goal scorer for a while. That kid has got a future, I think. So I'd like to see him.
We'll have a look at him. We'll have
a
look
more.
We'll
see.
we'll
Are you at the
gander.
level? Are you at the level? We'll see.
Yes.
I don't know. I don't think we're far off. Declan Rice is my choice.
Okay, cool. This one interesting. Kev says this all the time about there's a couple of teams, Liverpool as well, right? Has Partey played in a Liverpool at Anfield? Has he played or was he injured? Anyway,
I don't know.
Thomas Partey for you.
I think he was injured.
I think he was.
Yeah.
And
he missed City as well.
Yeah, everyone's fascinated. Are you fascinated to see what happens to an Arsenal team with him in the side against City?
I mean, we start going through the team, right? I mean, and you go, well, who can we not afford to have injured? Who can we not afford to miss it? And to be honest, I'd have said that about Jesus, but we seem to have coped fine without him. But Thomas Partey, there's no one else in that team who can quite do what he does. I think he has a level of control and he moves us about 10 yards further up the pitch. That's how I see it. I think we need him to stay fit for the next 10 games. We also need Ben White to stay fit for the next 10 games because we've got no cover at right back. But I want them all to stay fit for the next 10 games. Odegaard as well is another one. By the way.
I mean, listen,
loads.
we could go on for 2 hours talking about everybody. It's like, it's insane. You know, when someone goes into the armory or buys a shirt online, wherever, they're torn as to which player's name you get on the back of your shirt. It's just
they could have anyone. They could have anyone.
It's just such a wonderful situation to be in.
It is. It is. I feel like I'm in some sort of dreamlike state, to be honest with you, at the moment. I'm sort of, I know, and I know it could get better as well. But I just want to show them the love every time. I want to see them. I want to be at games as much as I possibly can. I want to watch them as much as I possibly can, and I feel as connected as I've ever done to this club. And that is quite something, isn't it?
I miss them when I came on and I'm like, I miss them already. Where are they? What is this stupid international break?
Don't need one.
Although Kev did bring up a really good point.
I think it's come at the right time for us, Ian. We need to clean Saliba up to get him fit and ready for the last 10.
Yes, so I think that's
true. We got to keep momentum going. But unlike last season, whenever we've had an international break this season, we've been okay out of it.
Yeah.
But, that Saliba injury, I'd just rather he was there. I know Holding done a good job. Fantastic. Yeah. But I'd just rather he was there.
Yeah. I know. I completely agree with you. I want to see William Saliba back and fit and ready to face those big games. I genuinely do. And we know what the first team is. And by the way, Zinchenko, we haven't actually talked about him. We haven't.
Go on, just go. Go on, you and Kev, just go. Roll.
Kev, have you ever seen a player like him before? I've never seen anyone who can play football quite like him.
Well, let's put it this way, Ian. Let me just say this. I have never, in my time in football, seen a left back pop up on the right-hand side and play ball through to the right winger, go through and score like Zinchenko did against Everton. He just goes where he can impact the game. And Mikel Arteta trusts him. You could see that the team trusts him to get the job done. And
I love watching him with the ball.
We've seen Xhaka improve when he's there. We've seen Martinelli improve when he's there. We've seen Jesus have a good game when he's there. We've seen Partey dovetail perfectly with him in that centre of midfield. What a player! What a player!
Well, he does play. He does play central midfield for Ukraine. He's the captain of Ukraine. He plays central midfield, and I watched him play for Man City. He's now our fullback. But I watched him, and this is the level. Remember, Ben White can play in midfield as well, probably. He's our other fullback. These guys are multi-talented, and that was one of the things, wasn't it? Mikel Arteta wants adaptability. These guys seem to be able to play all over the pitch. I don't want to start talking about the Ajax hybrids. Team. I don't want to talk about the Ajax team of the 70s. That was the first great team I ever saw. I was at Highbury in 1972 or 3. When Ajax came in the European Cup quarter-final and Johan Cruyff brought the ball down in the penalty area and 60,000 people went, whoa, look at that. We'd never seen anyone that good. Now we're seeing players of that sort of standard play for our team. The fullback could play in central midfield. It's utterly ridiculous. And long may it continue.
Do you think that the good side of it and the flip side of it, and any excuse for me to show this, but do you think Zinchenko killed Kieran Tierney's Arsenal career, or does Kieran Tierney just no longer fit? Thank you, Gunner Balls, by the way, for this, Jim. Yeah. Does Arteta just not like the way Tierney fits into what he wants to do now? He has his complete team.
I love watching Kieran come on the other day. I know he feels a little bit put out. I've had Celtic mates of mine say the sooner he gets away and goes to get a first team place somewhere else. And I understand that completely. And if that's what he wants to do, you know what? We loved him. I thought he was going to be a future Arsenal captain. But when you see the way Zinchenko plays left back, I just go, well, that's what I want. If Kieran Tierney could do that, I'd have him do that as well. But I'm not sure there's many players in the world who can do what Zinchenko does. And it just, as some Zinny brings that different dimension to the game. David just said this on here on the messages, and he does. There's no one who does what he does. So yeah, I feel sad for Kieran Tierney. I genuinely do. But I was so pleased for him at the weekend when he came on and got the assist for Bukayo's goal. And it was a nice moment, you know. He still loved it.
Ian.
He still loved.
Ian, Kieran Tierney's loved no matter what. So
Yeah.
if he chooses to go to get first team football or he decides to stay,
Fair
we
play.
love him anyway. But have you noticed Manchester City are not the same team without Zinchenko? And they've even tried playing Bernardo Silva left back to try and get that midfielder, that left back into midfield. So
Kev, they played that young right. Is it Lewis? They played Lewis as an inverted.
They've tried. They're trying anything to try and get that productivity from the left-hand side.
I can't believe that they let him go. I genuinely can't believe they let him go. I remember watching Man City last year in the semi-final of the Champions League against Real Madrid. Cancelo wasn't fit, so Zinchenko played. And I thought, once in a while, if I'm not watching with my glasses, I think it's De Bruyne. I think, is that De Bruyne? Oh, no, that's Zinchenko. That's the fullback there. I mean, he's an unbelievable, and he was one of the best players on the pitch. And I thought, you know, to have him in the team, aside from, you know, driving past the fans and cheering and roaring to them as he goes past the Tollington on a Sunday. He's inspired the dressing room, and he deserves all the plaudits, but they all do, don't they?
You know, there's one of the Man City YouTubers, what he said about Zinchenko, and we've seen it this season. Guardiola lost when he was playing a coach on the pitch.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what he is to Mikel Arteta. He's, you know, this is the other thing about this Arsenal team. We've been, how many years will we like, God, when are we going to get a proper captain? Who's going to be our captain? Well, now you've got captains without the armband. And that has been a long, long time since this Arsenal team has seen that as well. So
leaders all over the pitch, Kev. Leaders all over the pitch. The two centre halves, Ben White, the way that he plays, I'm loving his relationship with Bukayo, by the way. I just love how smooth the two of them look together. It's fantastic. But yeah, that leadership thing, you know, Granit, the way that we were talking on the Handbrake the other day about Granit, when Martinelli went off, he gave him a kiss on the head.
Look at Ben White in this picture. It's gold.
Look at that. I mean, it's absolutely. Was that after his through ball?
Yes.
Was that after his through ball? Oh my God, that was such a great bit of play by Bukayo. How smooth he was just to stroke down the corner.
And Ben to win the first one from Zaha.
He won it. Exactly, he won it. Yeah, listen, he's been absolutely fantastic, but they all have. Like I say, it's just part of the fun of this is going through the team. And I love that, like, you know, Jorginho came in, ended up getting the winning goal. All right, it was an own goal, but it wasn't. It was his shot. You know what I mean? Against Villa. And then Trossard gets a hat-trick of assists against Fulham. And they all feel part of it straight away. And it's, I mean, I'm blown away by it. I am. I've been blown away by it for quite a few weeks this year, but this is really something
Ian's
special.
got me all psyched again, Kevin.
Yeah, I'm a little, like I say, I mean, who knows what'll happen, but my God, they don't seem to be feeling the pressure, do they? The way that they've won their last two games. I mean, Kev, they're in a title race.
Last
but you
six.
but I'm saying, but the last two, they went away, tricky game at Fulham. I know that Paulinho wasn't in the team, and they've lost there. But you know what,
Ian, come on,
they blew them away. Yeah, but you know what I'm saying? They blew them away, and then Palace at home last year. We only got a 2-2 draw in the last minute. Laka scored. This year we blew them away again.
Ian, I got a question for you.
Yeah,
what do you do when Reece Nelson hit that left foot shot?
Well, I don't know if you know that I couldn't make that game. I had a gig. So what happened was I'm listening to it on the radio and 10 minutes to go, we're 2-2. And I thought, I have to pull over here. So I pulled over and I sat in the car because I thought if we scored a winning goal here, I'll crash the car. I will crash the car. And I don't want to do that, hurt myself or someone else. So I stopped and I waited. And when the goal went in, it was so... The noise on the radio was so insane. I couldn't work out what happened for a second. And then, I jumped out the car and ran around the car. People must have thought I'd lost my mind.
Love it.
But what did I do? I was like everyone else. I absolutely lost my mind. I mean, it was just, I mean, and for him as well, again, when you see the boys, the academy boys, when you see Eddie getting 2 against Man United, when you see Reece, when you see Reece coming on and scoring the winning goal against Bournemouth, I want to see Emile Smith-Rowe come back and do the business at some point this year. They all deserve to have a piece of this, and it's to see the academy boys do well is really a joy for us.
It's just wonderful that they're part of the journey, and they're having not only part of the journey, but they're having such an impact. Like they have, and every single player. You're right. It's hard to pick. I tell you, it's going to be tough for someone to pick a player of the year. Bakayo's been the undoubted winner for the last 2 seasons.
Bakayo's going to be player. Bakayo should be player of every year. If he just keeps doing what, I'd give him everything now. Go on, mate. You're just too good. I mean, what did my son say to me? He said, Bukayo Saka is a ridiculous football. What was the word he used? He said,
he's a generational player. He's also the type of player that crosses over into pop culture, into other groups, into other leagues, and then into everything. I mean, he's just a superstar in the making. My son said Saka is a joke of a footballer. And he is really, Kevin. Yeah.
I mean, also, by the way, and I've talked about this on Handbrake, what Saka means to the black community as well. I mean, what the pride that there must be in a guy like Bukayo.
Especially Arsenal, especially with Arsenal as well.
Yeah.
Because obviously, because of the past, Arsenal have that big connection to the black community. Yeah. And seeing a homegrown lad come through, and he's been player of the year for the last 2 years. He's been England player of the year. He missed the penalty. He suffered, but he's come back even stronger. That's why we've got to win this league.
Yeah,
we have to win this league.
Well, he's doing
all the stories. All the stories are just incredible. Saliba's story, Ben White's story, Ramsdale's story. Look at all the stories around the team. It's incredible.
It's great, isn't it?
Absolutely love it. Just brilliant stuff. We could talk forever. Ian, do you promise to come back at the end of the season? So then hopefully we could have the conversation that we really want to have.
Once I've sobered up, I'll be very happy. That'll probably be around sort of mid-June or something like that.
No, we don't want you. We want you a little tipsy.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, no, of course. Listen, I love talking about the Arsenal. It's really, they're giving me so much joy this year, giving everyone so much joy this year, and so it's fine. I'm happy.
We always ask everyone to make a bit of a closing statement before they leave the show. What do you want to leave with the squaddies tonight, Ian? What do you want them to know? What do you want to share with us?
Oh my God! I mean, I think everyone just keep doing what you're doing. Squaddies, keep doing what you're doing. Fans, football, the team, just keep doing what you're doing. I've never done anything like this, and I think we just have to. Nobody should rock the boat in any way. Whatever your routine is, keep wearing your lucky shirts and your lucky socks and your lucky. Just do what you're doing, and it'll all be gorgeous in the end.
It'll all be gorgeous in the end. Super Kev. Let's hope it'll all be gorgeous in the end. Kev, do you have anything else for Ian before you close the show for us this evening? And Ian lets us know where everyone can find his great stuff. Hold on, Kev. Sorry. Remiss of me. How rude.
Yeah.
By the way, you guys, and all the music lovers just don't happen to be in the chat tonight. Tossers. So listen, you got to go buy Ian's book. So if you're listening on replay, Matty K and Newman and Greek Commander, you will love this book. If you're a fan of Paul Weller, The Jam, To Be Someone, it's a brilliant book. Go buy it, please. Support your fellow Gooner. Just top shelf stuff. And if you haven't subscribed to Handbrake Off on The Athletic, it's a great podcast, and you should absolutely listen to it. So there you have it.
Thank you.
You are welcome. And thank you for your time. I know you're a very busy man. Super Kev, over to you.
Well, I got one more question for Ian.
Yeah.
You're Super Kev.
I asked Lee Judges and Dan Potts this question yesterday, and I'm going to ask you, Ian. Ian, what happens if Man City can't respond to the Arsenal winning?
What happens?
Yeah, what happens in the press, and what happens on your podcast, and what's the thought process? What happens? Because everyone's expecting Man City to just win out the season.
Yeah.
But what happens if they don't?
Well, we know what happens if they don't, Kev. I'd rather not say it out loud, but we know.
I want to know your mindset. You see, your mindset, because you do a podcast and all that.
Yeah.
So they're expected to do that, but they've not done it all season, really.
No.
So, come on.
What happens
don't
is
hold back.
I botched it as well, mate. Don't
well,
worry.
no, but what happens is that we'll be doing 4-hour podcasts. We might go game by game or something. Let's start game at a time. Let's talk about this one for a while. We'll do player by player. We'll be talking till August. That's what will happen. I will be paying a visit to the town hall at the end of May, and people will be flying in. I've got a mate flying in from Germany for the last game. My son will come down from Glasgow, and it'll all be just happiness.
Special. It'll be special.
It will be special. It will be special. It will be special. And that's what will happen if Man City don't do their business. And
one game at a time, like you say. We know that.
Right.
We take Leeds. Leeds is the next game for us. We take that.
Yeah. And we'll all be Liverpool fans on that first game back for them as well. A quickie from John Mavrudis here. He created a Paul Weller film or concert poster. He's got to get your book. Thank you, Ian. So,
thanks, John.
Yeah, awesome stuff. All right, Super Kev, back to you.
Well, yeah, that was it, Ian. Thanks for giving us your time. To Sophie, myself, and the squaddies. The squaddies love you as always,
great,
and hopefully we could get you back at the end of the season when we're celebrating. We hope. So again,
that'd be lovely.
Ian, you know what? One thing I've noticed: nobody's getting too far above their station because we know this could derail. But we're just so proud of the boys. You know what I mean? We're just so proud of the boys.
Yeah.
So, squaddies, with that, again, we thank Ian. Thanks to Sophie. Thanks to you for joining us. I'm not even going to go there with the likes tonight because we've had such a good show. And you've had over an hour. So hit the likes when we're gone.
You broke them yesterday too. So
yeah, so squaddies, I've got to say, we love you. Take good care and at ease. Look after yourselves and enjoy your international break. At ease.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.